Welcome to Always Honest, where two friends unpack the beauty and chaos of faith, family, and everything in between, one honest conversation at a time. Welcome back to Always Honest. Today we are discussing goal setting, why it's important, and how to stick to them.
Yes, I'm excited. It's a perfect time of year because when this is out, it's probably mid-February, but still, people are probably still thinking about goals and how to start them, if they want to start them, if it's too late to start them. I feel like
it's a good time to jump back in if you've fallen off since January 1.
Yeah. I had a thing that I was going to start January 1, and I was so excited, and I have not done one thing. And it's like every day is like one day is go for a walk, one day fast social media, and I was like sick, and then I was like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and like, so I have personally not done very well yet. So I'm glad we're talking about
starting
this.
over.
Yeah.
Like every day is day one.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
So
mood check. Where are you at?
On a scale of rainbows and sunshine to clouds rolling in?
Yes.
I would say it's just a cloudy day.
Okay.
I don't feel terrible. I am a little nervous about our podcast and just what it's like to be out there and being exposed in this way. But I am loving this weather.
I know, me too.
I mean, it's really cold here, but it's sunny, and usually it's really gray and raining, and so I'm just so thankful that it's not like that, because I get like seasonal affective disorder, like sad, depressed in the winter if it's too gray for too long. So I'm liking this sunshine, some vitamin D.
Yeah, this, like, when you wake up in the morning and it's like frosty and sunny, it's probably my favorite weather.
Really?
Like, I mean, a hot sunny day, you can't pass that, like, or can't beat that. But like the crisp cold but sunny is like just happy. I don't know, I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear you on the gray skies.
Yeah. Mood check. Madeline, where are you on a scale of rainbows and sunshine to clouds rolling in?
I mean, I was talking to you about this before we got on here. Hormonally, I'm a little cloudy. PMSing is not my friend. I personally hate PMSing. Like, I would rather just be on my period.
Friend?
No, I don't think so. If it's your friend, let us know, because we want to hear how you get through that. But no, I don't know, like the lead up to my period, just like mood wise and like physically, I don't feel great. But I shouldn't complain. Other than that,
don't shit on yourself.
Don't what?
Should on yourself.
You said a different word. I was like, wow, I'm learning new things about you. That's so funny. Yeah, no.
There's no should. You feel what you feel.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, no.
And just remember, it will pass. This too shall pass.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Thank you. I need that reminder so often, like, because I get fixated on like, whatever. And that's
the moment.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we're talking about goal setting. I want to hear from you what your thoughts are on it. Some people probably don't ever set goals. So are you a fan of goal setting? Do you think it's important? And if you do, then why do you think it's important?
Well, I think one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is because it's been really hard for me. As somebody with ADHD, I get easily distracted. The way ADHD works is you have less sustaining dopamine levels. So they can go up, but then they go back down quicker than somebody else who doesn't have ADHD, the neurotypical person. So we lose interest in things more quickly. Tasks, things need to be new to keep our interest. So I'll get started on something, and then I'm like, well, what about this? And what about this? So setting goals has been really hard for me, and I just I don't know, wanted to explore it and just discuss it and talk about ideas and how Christians handle it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I love it. I think it's important too. I think that we are called to be constantly growing, and I feel like we can get stuck in the mundane way of life and living and just those everyday things. And I feel like just setting a few reachable goals can just like give us something to kind of focus on, just to like yeah, I want to grow in this area. I don't want to stay the same. Um, and, but I feel like there's a lot of pressure around like the first of the year. And then often for me, like if I don't stick to it in January, February comes and I'm like, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
And that's where I don't want people to get stuck because every day can be a new day and you can start over, you know? It doesn't have to be January. It's just kind of like I think people focus on that a lot, but it doesn't have,
Yeah.
I don't, yeah.
Yeah. God's mercies are new every morning. So every day
Yes,
is a new
yes.
opportunity. Yeah. And the other reason, one of the other reasons that I wanted to talk about it is because it can be such a pressure, especially in Christian circles. And I don't want this discussion to come across as that
Mhm.
of like, hey, pull up your bootstraps, get back at it and do this thing. But really diving more deeper into like the root of why we
Yeah,
make goals,
yeah.
not just do it, be a good person, be better.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. For
Yeah,
sure,
I don't like that
for
pressure.
sure.
It's how do you balance pursuing something with being gracious with yourself?
Mm-hmm. That is tricky. I feel like you can't, you just in my experience, you can't um just do one or the other. Like you can't just be like, "Oh, I'm just, this is really hard and I'm going to take it really slow." And like yes, but like you also need that fire under you of like I'm going to do this even when I don't feel like it. But then again, like it's just like a circle, I guess, because you're not always going to feel like you're not always going to make the right choice or feel up to, you know, pushing through that discomfort. The goal is that you do, but when you don't, because we're human and we fail, like giving yourself that grace to try again. I don't know. I just think of so many things in my life where I've had to like push through discomfort to move forward, but I often, so often, have pulled back and just stayed comfortable. And do I grow? Absolutely not. But does God still love me? Absolutely. And does he want me to give up? No. Oh, I had a verse that you had shared with me, but Galatians 6:9. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we do not give up. And that second part is obviously the key, right? Like we will see blessing if we don't give up. So it's so important to not give up, whether it's been a year since you've done what you want to do or 5 years, I don't care. Um not giving up. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree that I really think there's no such thing as failure. Actually,
Mhm.
Kobe Bryant said that.
Oh.
There's no such thing as
Is
failure.
he a basketball player or
He
football?
was, yeah.
Did he die?
Yeah.
See, I
It's
don't know
tragic.
things. Oh.
Really tragic, yeah. Yeah, he was in a helicopter with his daughter.
Oh, yes. I
Yeah.
did hear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was really driven,
Mm.
and so he said he has a lot of good quotes out there, and one is that there's no such thing as failure. The story is not over. Something to
Mhm.
that effect.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
exactly that, but the idea is, failure is a tutor.
Mm.
It's just showing
Yeah.
you that's not the way to do it. Like we had our mics die.
Yeah.
We recorded this already,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it
For
wasn't
sure.
a failure. It showed
Mhm.
us,
Mhm.
let's get a backup set of
Yeah.
mics.
Mhm.
Let's, you learn
Mhm.
something from your failures. Maybe you learn that I shouldn't do this anymore. So
Mhm.
maybe you learn I've done all that I can, and this is
Mhm.
time to put it away and stop,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as
Yeah.
failure. We just, we learn from it.
Yeah. That's so true. I think, not to get too off topic, but I think that's what so often keeps people out of the church is they just think they're too far gone. Like so many people are like there's just no hope for me. Like you don't know all the stuff I've done, and it's like the word says we're never too far gone. It's his grace is enough for it all. So while thinking of goal setting and working on it, like just remembering that it's never too late to start again, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and when I think of goals, it's not to make you a better person because there's nothing that we can do that's going to make God love us more.
It's true.
There's
Yeah.
nothing that
Yeah.
we can do that's going to make him love us less. Our goals are, they're giving us a better life.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
teaches us how to live a more pleasant, more peaceful life.
Mm-hmm.
So we set these goals for ourself and the life that we want to have, the legacy that we want to have, not to seek God's approval or like that is done. Like that's settled.
Yeah.
And so anything that we seek after that is just it's just, I don't want to say for us, but it's impacting our life, it's impacting other people's lives, and not impacting our worth and value in God, because that's settled with Jesus.
I think that's so good. I needed to hear that, because I think that if we can remember that, okay, am I doing this to better myself as a mother or a wife or a friend, whatever, and am I doing this for my children, or am I doing this so God gives me a high five, or not a high five, but like, so am I doing this so God, is pleased with me that day, which we want him to be pleased with us.
Well, I hear a lot of that talk though, and I personally think it's destructive when I hear people saying that you're doing this for God's approval or to please God.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, I think our pastor said, and I think many people have said, God will never love you more than he loves you right now. So that striving for his love is just exhausting, and it just creates that sense of failure, because we will never, amount to what we think God deserves, because he deserves perfection, of course. But
well, and he doesn't need it from us. He will go on being God if we accomplish our goals or not.
Right. Yes.
So going back to balancing our goals, even though we're not doing it for people, how do we accomplish a bigger goal without getting discouraged?
I think we've talked about like setting goals, micro goals that are attainable and reachable, baby steps, you could say, where it feels like, oh, but I just want to get to that part, but knowing that like any growth is a process and healing is a process. Most of the time it doesn't happen overnight, and so setting yourself up for success in just an achievable way. What would be an example of that we could give them?
Well, so we talked about visualizing. You do want to visualize the big goal, but if that's the only thing you have in mind, it can get discouraging if you're not there yet. So you break it down into smaller micro goals. An example would be if you want to write a book, then you set a goal of, well, I'm going to write an outline for a chapter today. And then that's your goal, and you check it off. And then each day you just focus on what you have each day, because the Bible says God gives us grace enough for one day. Not to think about yesterday, not to think about what's to come, but just the present. There's just so much pressure. And then what creeps in is the self-doubt and the lies from the enemy, which is, you failed, you're never going to be able to do this, you're not good enough, why even bother? So
and I heard this once, someone said, don't let the enemy fool you into thinking that because you're not where you want to be, like the finish line of whatever the goal is, that you're never going to get there. Because it can be really powerful to feel like, what's the point, because I'm not there yet. But that's where we go back to the baby steps of like, there is nothing wrong with 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, and 3 steps forward and 1 step. Like, life is I don't know that it's possible for someone to be like, this is my goal, and oh, I achieved it perfectly, and I achieved it in this amount of time, and like, that's just not life.
I mean, if you listen to any of the successful business people or athletes, their story is not often just straight path. The thing that I hear the most from successful people is just don't give up. They didn't give up, whatever it was.
So we have a gift for them. Is it a gift? Do I call it that? We have a tool for them. Is it a micro
goal tracker?
Micro goal tracker. And you can write your goals. You can
check it off each day. Yeah. So using that example on the tracker, which you can download below. Actually, you can you click on the link and then put in your email, and it will be emailed to you. And it says, and you can print out, I would probably actually print out one sheet for each larger goal. And on there, it will say your micro goal. So that would be like your daily goal. And if it's, to use that example, writing a chapter a day, then you would check the box for Sunday, did it, Monday, did it, and check each day if you accomplished your micro goal. And then below that, it says what the larger goal is. So if the larger goal is writing a book, then you would have a whole sheet for that. And then if you have another goal, like you talked about, your goal for the year, which is one
being
of
on
your
my
goals.
phone less.
Yeah. So how would you break that down into a daily?
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of still figuring this out, like as you're talking about it, because I feel like I'm not doing as well as I was hoping. So I'm kind of, trying to figure out where is this more doable? When should I be on my phone? Um, and the main goal is to be on it way less in front of my children. So that's where maybe I would start with like not checking, anything other than like a text message,
Mm-hmm.
Email, social media, whatever, not checking that until noon. And
Sure.
then, yeah, maybe just like starting there where then, because that feels like a doable thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm going to check it at noon, but from, 7 a.m. to
Mm-hmm.
noon, I am not on my phone. And then
Mm-hmm.
I can check that off that
Yeah.
I've done that.
So your micro goal would be from 7 to noon,
Mm-hmm.
not checking anything
Yeah.
at all? Or did you say
Well, I
other
mean,
than
I feel like not
messages?
texting someone back is a little extreme. I don't feel like I have an issue with that. But like text or call is fine. But just the incessant scrolling of like, oh, emails and,
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that I don't need
It's
to
like
be.
walking to the fridge and being like, is there anything in here? Like, you
Mm-hmm.
just,
Yeah.
why am I looking at
Yeah.
this?
Like, am I even hungry? Yeah, for sure. Okay, Leah, it's your turn for short mama wisdom. What do you got for us?
Okay, for us short mamas
Yeah.
and a short bit of wisdom.
Yeah.
We actually started to address it. I was going to say that our goals are not for others.
Mm.
They may benefit
Mm-hmm.
when you better yourself, it benefits others, but make sure that it's something that you want, that you
That's
actually
good.
want. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a lot harder to pursue it if it's not something that you want.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it for
Mm-hmm.
someone else. Also, within that, I wanted to say don't hesitate. The perfect moment is never going to come.
Mm-hmm.
You're never too young, you're not too old. Just start messy and
Mm-hmm.
start today. Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, do it with all your heart as if unto the Lord and not to your earthly master.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Have you ever set a goal where you feel like you're doing it for someone else rather than you?
Yeah, for years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for years, I feel like well, I cared a lot about what people thought.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very much a yes person. It's not necessarily goals, but I put aside everything that I actually wanted
Mm-hmm.
and was constantly saying, yes, I'll do that for
Mm-hmm.
you. Yes, I'll do that. So I was very busy with other
Mm-hmm.
people's to dos.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't necessarily making goals for other people, but I just set mine aside
Mm-hmm.
and was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
doing things for other people. Because I wanted people to like me, and I didn't like saying no. I was afraid what they would think if I said no.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I wasted a lot of years doing
Mm-hmm.
that because I think a lot of people didn't appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so it was like, well, why am I always putting myself aside?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not as happy of a person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a pleasant, irritable because I'm not doing what I enjoy or what I'm passionate about or
Mm-hmm.
what is meaningful to me,
Mm-hmm.
helping people and they don't even necessarily appreciate it.
Yeah.
Not that we just do things for thanks, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
I
Getting
needed to,
behind your why of like, why
yeah,
am I doing this? Why am
yeah,
I saying yes to this?
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, if it is for someone else, if for the wrong reasons, obviously we're called to like serve and
yeah,
be there for, like if you're doing it to like please someone else in that sense, I feel like we'll just be empty at the end of the day because it's like
yeah,
that wasn't even on my heart, or like it didn't even feel like God was asking me to
yeah,
necessarily do that.
yeah. I heard this quote. It was new to me. I don't know, maybe you've heard it, but um, your yes is only as good as your no.
Something like that. I have heard that.
Yeah. And I couldn't really wrap my head around it. But the idea is that if you're somebody who always says yes, it's not that valuable.
Mm.
But if you're somebody who is choosy and careful with what you commit to,
Yeah.
then people know this person's going to be committed, because otherwise they would say no.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot, is that I would say yes and then I would slack, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I would get to a month later, like, yes, I'm going to do that for you. And then I
Mm-hmm.
had too much on my plate and I was just disappointing people.
Yeah.
And so my yes wasn't that valuable.
I really want to hear about one of your personal goals this year. I don't think that I know any of them.
Yeah.
Do you want to share one? I mentioned my being on my phone less in front of the girls. That's,
Yeah.
or in general.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've talked about me pursuing my health, and that
Mm-hmm.
I've always tried to be healthy, but as I get older, it becomes more of a priority,
Mm-hmm.
less of a vanity thing,
Mm-hmm.
and more of just like, okay, I want to be able to function and bend down and,
Yeah.
all this stuff. And one of my friends who's older, she was like, never stop doing certain motions, or else
Mm-hmm.
one day you're just going to wake up and not be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
so, so, keeping up with cardio and what do you call, like, fitness? It's functional fitness.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this guy holding weights and going like this.
Like a hippie
Maybe I don't.
with
I
weights
don't
though.
know with weights,
That's
but I'm
nice.
like, he's like, this is functional fitness. Like, you're not just
Oh.
lifting things like this, because
Oh.
you use your body in all these
Yeah.
different ways. So
Yeah.
you gotta turn on all those muscles.
Mm-hmm.
So it was funny looking, but
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, he's onto something.
Yeah.
The next fitness trend.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll catch on quick. I really want to be able to do like a good amount of push-ups, like not on my knees, push-ups. And I used to be able to do them a ton before I had kids, and just like my core has really struggled. I mean, and my youngest is 6, so I don't feel like I have much room, like an excuse. But just like I would love to be able to bust out 20 push-ups, and I can bust out about 7,
Yep.
6, I don't know. So that's one of my goals.
Oh.
Not like a legit goal this year, but as you're talking about fitness, I'm like, oh yeah, I do have some fitness goals. But
Yeah.
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 We would love for you to comment down below and tell us your personal goals, or DM us on Instagram. We want to personally pray over them for you guys and just be involved with you as you try and grow and be on the journey with you. So feel free to let us know your goals, and don't forget to download the micro goal tracker and get yourself organized.
So be sure to catch us in our next episode, where we discuss spiritual and personal growth. Is true change possible? How do I know if I'm growing, or am I always going to just be stuck in my old habits? And how does faith guide us in becoming who we're supposed to be? So until then, stay honest.
Bye.